and to others who are not here today but are in our thoughts. Thank you to civic leaders such as those here today, current and past board members, especially the board of 2017 who voted for this dedication and today, and with fortunate timing so that my father knew that this decision had been made. Thank you to folks like Peg Hogan and Lucy Denny, who've given so much energy, wonderful energy over the years to contribute to Arlington. My parents really appreciated the opportunity they had to come to Arlington and be part of the federal government just after World War II. My mother was able to be part of Arlington over decades of interesting changes and growth. My mother also had great respect for the county staff and the work done by the staff. So we are just happy to think of all the work yet to be done that volunteers, elected officials, and county staff will be doing in this building now and tomorrow for Arlington. So thank you again for being with us this morning.
Martha, thank you for your words, and thank you again to the family for your commitment. We know that public service is a family affair, and so many of those accomplishments were done with the support of Ellen's family. I'd like to now invite 3 former county board members, all of whom have spent countless hours, days, and years and made too many contributions to enumerate here to the podium. We're joined this morning by Joe Holy, who served in 1971 to 1978, chaired the board in 72 and 77. John Milliken, who served from 1981 to 1990, chaired the board in 1985 and 1988. And Mary Margaret Whipple, who served from 1983 to 1995. I'm going to ask you if you could each approach the podium in turn. We look forward to hearing your thoughts.
Thanks, Katie. Thank you all for being here to help honor Ellen. Katie reviewed Ellen's entire history. We'll just add a few points to that. First thing I'd like to say is we all love Ellen Bozman. We love her now as well, okay? I worked with Ellen on the Long Range County Improvement Program, which nobody could pronounce years ago. And, you know, smart growth and all that's very nice, interesting. But we got going on affordable housing too, and we introduced historic preservation to Arlington. We thought this would be a good way to preserve affordable housing. And right close to us here, Colonial Village is one of the examples of both smart growth, which took part of Colonial Village, unfortunately, and historic preservation, which preserved the rest of Colonial Village forever. You can't make changes in it. So that was one way in which the planning that we did over 2 years led to lasting improvements for Arlington. And then they had to do research to find out if Colonial Village was historic, and it turned out that was the model for the rebuilding of Germany at Berlin after the war. Okay. The only other thing I can think of is when I was limping around on one leg, is that Ellen Bozman's responsible for the curb cuts that we see all over Arlington. So again, we loved Ellen then, and we love her today.
I'm the middle child. I want to share just a couple of my experiences with Ellen during the 10 years that we served together on the county board. When I was elected in 1980, I knew a little bit about politics and very little about county government. Ellen set about to change that. I spent many an hour that first year or two sitting in her living room while she patiently walked me through the agenda for some upcoming meeting or talked about the topic of the day. She never told me what to think or what to do. She was much more subtle than that. But she walked me through the history of an issue or maybe the personalities of some of the principals, helping me form my own judgments and then letting me be free to make my own mistakes. A number of you know the specifics of her service, but I want to touch on just two things that I think stand out, at least in the 10 years that we served together. Long before it became fashionable and cool, Ellen championed the idea of a place where people could purchase healthy foods, locally grown foods, and where community groups could set up information tables to talk about the organization and recruit other Arlingtonians or others to join them. From the master gardeners to the local sports groups to civic organizations. And from this idea was born the Arlington Farmers Market at Courthouse. That idea has now spawned a progeny of 10 farmers markets in Arlington alone, the most recent of which will be at Arlington Mill and will open next month. Interestingly, community gardens, another of Ellen's ideas, began at about the same time. Both ideas reflected the growing interest in the 1970s in health and nature, open space, and the environment. The second idea I want to talk about is visioning or planning of the community in which we all live and work. Ellen was a proponent of livable spaces, again, long before it became a buzzword. During much of the 1980s, the board, which by 1983 included Mary Margaret, developed sector plans for most of the major station areas in the Roslyn-Ballston corridor. And Ellen was involved in every aspect of the planning of that, particularly focused on gathering places, places where people could meet and sit and talk and enjoy each other's company in the outdoors. She often encouraged the use of charrettes to help sort through the needs and opportunities of a given place, often inviting Partners for Livable Communities, a respected nationwide organization, to come in and facilitate the charrette. Ellen instinctively understood that bricks and glass and even trees and greenery were not enough. They had to be arranged in a way to attract and retain people. Strollers, runners, coffee sippers, people watchers, to give them life and to assure the success of the place. She understood that the best decisions came through the involvement of an engaged and informed citizenry. In the mid-1980s, the county began what it called the mid-course review. The mid-course review taking stock of the changes and what still needed to be done in the metro corridors. Ellen's sense at that time was that there was a whole new generation of county leaders that needed to understand where we'd come from, how we'd gotten to where we were, so that they could help give direction for the next stage. From that was born something called the short course, capital S, capital C, a citizen's guide to figuring out the planning process and how to affect it. The course took place over a 2-week span, taught by experts in county government and otherwise about the general land use plan, about the planning history, about the powers and limitations of county authority over land use decisions. The idea was to give the community the tools to argue successfully with staff and to yell at county board members, although nobody ever yelled at Ellen. Over the years, the short course gave rise to something called the Neighborhood College and other initiatives for keeping the public engaged and informed. Those are just two of the many major initiatives that Ellen was responsible for. But they've got a common theme. At their root, They reflected a deeply felt faith that she had in the wisdom and goodness of the collective community. Ellen believed that it was her role to encourage that collective expression, and as an elected official, to lead and to follow it when it was at its most informed and thoughtful. And she did a very good job of it. Thank you.
So you've heard memories from the 70s and the 80s, and you might think that when we got to the 90s, we'd run out of good things to say about Ellen, but you'd be wrong. Ellen herself was never mired in the past. She was always thinking of something new that would make Arlington an even better place, you may chant with me, an even better place to live, work, and raise a family. We must have said that a million times. She was devoted to human services and concentrated many of her efforts in that area, starting way back with the Health and Welfare Council and the founding of the Extended Day Program, as you had heard. But later, still thinking about families, she recognized our aging population, established a work group to look into nursing homes and find suitable sites. She immediately saw the value of assisted living facilities, and soon we had many more housing options for the elderly. In fact, affordable housing was a real priority for Ellen. She loved this community. She had worked really hard to make it more inclusive and to have great diversity. But as market rate affordable housing was disappearing, so was some of that diversity. She became more committed than ever, and after she retired from the county board, she and Bill and Jack Kornman and others founded the Alliance for Housing Solutions to work on educating the community about the value of affordable housing. Today, Martha Bozman serves on that board, and the campaign that the AHS is promoting is called Arlington for Everyone. Please join. Ellen paid attention to all facets of the quality of life. First and foremost, excellent schools, followed closely by great public services, parks and recreation, environmental quality, and the human services that touched her heart, plus farmers market and neighborhood day. While Arlington was Ellen's focus, she didn't stop there. She was very active in the Council of Governments. She was the first recipient of the prestigious Elizabeth and David Skull Award, Public Service Award. She was named a Washingtonian of the Year, and what they said was, without Ellen Bozman, Arlington County would not be as nice a place as it is. Summed it right up. Those are only some of the things that Ellen did, but we can't leave today without remembering what a wonderful, caring person she was. I would watch Ellen work a crowd, and before it was over, she would have had a private conversation with every person in that room. She knew about the personal lives of county staff and cared about them and kept up with them. She was just the right person to be on a county, she could find just the right person to be on a county commission. Inevitably, she would spot that talent and persuade them that what they wanted to do was Barbara Favola, look for nursing home sites. She was smart, intellectually curious, and kind, a true mentor for many. Who wouldn't want to be Ellen Bozman? Some people get an obituary in the Washington Post. Ellen got that, plus an editorial. So I'll close with the final sentence of that Washington Post editorial. The evolution of Arlington County remains a demographic work in progress, but so much of what is in place today for tomorrow's residents, the rich inheritance of the Arlington Way, comes thanks to the exceptional contributions of Ellen Bozman.
Thank you so much, Joe, John, Mary Margaret, for those wonderful remarks. And I really noted in all three the remarks about the unique relationship that Ellen Bozman had with the professional staff. And as others have said, it makes it so appropriate that this building will bear her name. And I want to recognize, actually, we have, to that end, 3 former county and current county managers in attendance, Tony Gardner, Barbara Donnellan, and Mark Schwartz. So that is further a tribute. Soon we'll unveil the plaque to mark this building, but before we do that, I'd like to invite Delegate Patrick Hope, who has a special proclamation from the Virginia General Assembly to share with us today. Welcome, Delegate Hope. And Senator Barbara Favola.
Good morning, everyone. It's a privilege to be here. We thought we'd use this occasion to celebrate the life of Bill Bozman, Ellen's partner in life. And if you note a lot of the activities that Ellen devoted her life to, Bill was right there with her along the way, a very active member of our community. We lost Bill in November, and the General Assembly honored him and committed and celebrated his life. And I'd like to read to you a few of the resolutions, whereases for the resolution. Whereas William H. Bozman, a longtime resident of Arlington County, who dedicated his life to serving others as a federal government employee and volunteer, died on November 30th, 2017. And whereas Bill Bozman also volunteered his time and leadership as president of the Board of Alliance for Housing Solutions, which promotes affordable housing in Arlington, and he was active in the United Way, the American Red Cross, and other organizations. And whereas William Bozman enjoyed fellowship and worship with the Arlington community as a member of the Rock Spring United Church of Christ, and whereas preceded by his wife Ellen, William Bozman will be fondly remembered and greatly missed by his children, Martha, William, and Bruce and their families, and numerous other family members and friends. Now therefore be it resolved by the House of Delegates, the Senate concurring, that the General Assembly hereby note with great sadness the loss of William H. Bozman, a dedicated civil servant and a passionate advocate for members of the community in need, and be it further resolved further that the Clerk of the House of Delegates prepare a copy of this resolution for presentation to his family as the expression of the General Assembly's respect for his memory. And so on behalf of the entire Arlington delegation and really the General Assembly, the entire Arlington community, thank you, and we celebrate Bill's life. Thank you all.
Thank you, Delegate Hope and Senator Favola. I'd now like to invite the family members of Ellen Bozman, as well as the current members of the Arlington County Board, to join me here as we dedicate this plaque. Thank you so much. Please come to us. Welcome. Thank you. Grab the whole thing. Got it. Thank you very much. All right. On behalf of all of us assembled today in the current county board, we dedicate the 2100 Clarendon Boulevard County Office Building in the memory of Ellen M. Bozman. Cluster. Come on in.
Stare at the trees.
All right. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. So I understand that in addition to her many public policy and community passions, Ellen Bozman had a love of music. She launched many programs to foster it in our community. And so to conclude our program today, I'd like to invite again the Four Directions Quartet of the Arlingtons back to the stage, thank them for being with us today, and invite them to sing a couple of songs for us.
I'll be the last guy hanging around to hear that old barbershop sound. that sound. I've never tried it, but I'd like to see those barbershop chords when they ring, when they ring. Sing me a song, any old kind, Rosie O'Grady or Sweet Adeline. I love to hear that old barbershop style, love that style. Sing for a while, ballad or jazz, sing it with feeling or razzmatazz. I love to hear that old barbershop style, barbershop style. How those songs bring me back there, bring me back to my town. I tell you, when those chords ring in the air, oh boy, what a sound. Just give me a while, save me a place. Soon I'll be singing both tenor and bass. I love to hear that old barbershop style. Oh, what a style. You know that I love to hear that old barbershop style. Love that old barbershop style. We're glad to see you here today, and you can count on us to make a fuss and shout hooray. Be our guest, put our singing to the test. As for directions entertains you, we are sure to do our best. As we sing chords that ring in that four-part harmony, you should all be quite contented, 'cause we love your company. Let's be clear, we are here to put music in your ear, and we hope that you will all enjoy our quest. Accept our invitation without hesitation, be our guest. Oh, please be our guest. Please say yes. Be our guest, be our guest. Acquiesce to our request. In our quest to entertain you, we are really quite obsessed. We would like you to know that we love to do this show, as the joy upon our face of our great bass here should attest.
Thank you very much for having us here today. We are Four Directions, and the county would like to welcome you to be our guest and enjoy some refreshments.
Accept our invitation without hesitation, be our guest. Be our guest. Won't you be our guest? Oh, won't you be our guest? Won't you be our guest?
Gentlemen, thank you. That was wonderful. And thank you all for coming today. I continue to be incredibly inspired by Ellen Bozman's legacy. I know I'm not alone in this gathering, and thanks to this plaque and this dedication, that name will continue to give inspiration in this county for many years to come. As the gentleman said, please join us for some light refreshments right here to my right. And again, thank you for joining us. tell you you were fabulous.